congratulates the viewer for scrolling to this R-rated animal horror film. A young man holds a camera and films pastoral scenery. Suddenly, he becomes alert. He feels as if something in the shadows watches him. A giant crocodile, Gustav, directly scares the young man senseless. He is not filming pastoral scenery. He is clearly filming himself as the crocodile's extra meal. If this were the audience, what would they do? The young man immediately turns and runs. Fortunately, the crocodile's lunge gets its head stuck in a tree fork. The young man thus escapes danger. This is the subject of today's discussion, the R-rated animal horror film. The story takes place in Central Africa. The residents living here suffer greatly. They not only suffer from local wars, but also guard against the giant crocodile living in the water, Gustav. This giant crocodile only kills a few thousand residents each month. So, the residents do not take it seriously. They allow their children to play in the water. But until one day, the giant crocodile eats someone it should not. He now completely gets himself into trouble. That is the expert sent by America. This matter instantly spreads in American media. A news company boss spends a huge sum to hire a team. He asks them to go and film a documentary about capturing a giant crocodile alive. Clearly, this treats the giant crocodile as a source of viral content. Of course, this can also be euphemistically called eliminating harm for the people. The team has a total of 16 people. Aviva, Tim, crocodile expert Matt, and photographer Steven are part of the team. The last two people are locals from that area. Local warfare is frequent. The boss also spends a huge sum to hire the most authoritative local of forces to protect the group of people. As the group of people just arrives at the place, the troop leader Gustav welcomes them. He guarantees that the group of people is absolutely safe here and will not suffer attacks from other armed forces. Unexpectedly, just as he finishes speaking, the group of people gets eliminated by someone with an AK when they take a boat at night. However, fortunately, Gustav's soldiers' weapons are more advanced, and one magazine eliminates all of them. The next day arrives. The group of people meets the fifth person in the team, Jacob. Before capturing the giant crocodile, Jacob takes the group to meet the local shaman. The shaman prays for the group that they will not encounter danger when catching the giant crocodile. After the prayer, it is already evening, and the group arrives at the riverbank. They prepare to catch the giant crocodile. They use a giant iron cage with a live goat, a bucket of crocodile-attracting compound, and a locator. While setting up the trap, the last person in the team, Jojo, appears. He is a pure local. Actually, he does not belong to this team. He is just very enthusiastic and actively helps Matt and the others. The reason is simple. He wants the group to take him away from this war-torn place. To put it bluntly, he wants to go to the United States with them. It is now night. Steven observes the computer and discovers something is happening in the iron cage. The goat moves frantically. Clearly, the crocodile appears. So Matt immediately comes out holding a sniper rifle. This crocodile is cunning and very smart. Clearly, it knows this is a trap. On the other side, Matt uses a thermal imaging scope and quickly finds the crocodile. He fires a shot at it. The tranquilizer successfully injects into its body. The startled crocodile immediately runs away. When morning arrives, several people come to the river to check the situation. Meanwhile, Steven is quite leisurely. He goes to the savannah and photographs giraffes and zebras. But just then, a jeep drives up in the distance. After the jeep stops, the armed personnel on board force the shaman and his family of 3 out. Finally, with a swift motion, they directly neutralize the shaman. His wife and daughter also do not escape. Steven records all of this with his camera. When night arrives, he shows it to the others. Jacob explains that they kill the shaman because the shaman often opposes them. Now, the group decides to take this videotape back to show the people at the United Nations. It records evidence of the local armed forces' tragedy of civilians. This is so the United Nations sends troops to eliminate this armed force. However, Steven quickly opposes this because he, having stayed here before, knows that the armed forces' power dominates the local area. Once they know the team holds evidence of the tragedy, they will stop at nothing to silence them. Before the video is shown, the team might first be neutralized. With no other option, and the minority obeying the majority, Steven follows the others. However, what surprises them is their conversation happens to be heard clearly by the security guard at the door. This guy is an undercover agent. He quickly reports it to his superiors. On the other side, Jojo, eager to prove himself, shows off his abilities. He actually voluntarily jumps into the cage, making himself act as bait to catch the crocodile. He is practically risking his life. Soon, the crocodile smells the scent and comes. However, it has been mentioned before that the crocodile is very clever. It startles a nearby bird, which then indirectly gives Jojo a fright. Jojo's fall directly causes the iron cage to close. The crocodile also takes this opportunity to appear. After the others see it, they immediately rush over. They see the crocodile continuously uses its massive body to hit the iron cage. Clearly, it wants Jojo to fall into the water along with the iron cage. Jacob sees the situation. He directly throws a grenade over. Although the iron cage is blown open, Jojo also sinks into the water. Tim sees the situation. He immediately runs over to save Jojo. As for Jacob, the narrator does not know what he is thinking, as he still wants to throw another grenade over. Matt hurriedly stops him and tackles him to the ground. Tim on the other side quickly saves Jojo. This kid is truly lucky. And the security personnel on the other side also directly shows their true colors. He finds the isolated Aviva and, holding an AK, forces her into the tent. This guy has ill intentions upon seeing her beauty, but fortunately, at the critical moment, the giant crocodile arrives. It directly eats this security personnel. This scares Aviva so much that she hurriedly finds everyone, saying the giant crocodile ate someone. At the same time, everyone's tent is also made a mess of. Now, there is no place to live, and the traps are also gone. They can only prepare to leave tomorrow morning. Just as they are speaking, another security guard sees them trying to escape and immediately reports it to his superiors without pretense. Then he directly shoots at them, hitting Jacob. The security guard gibbers a lot of nonsense. Then he picks up the video footage. They know about Steven's secret filming. The security guard, holding a weapon, forces the group to the riverbank, clearly intending to eliminate them and destroy the evidence. Steven, refusing to surrender even unto death, plans to have a one-on-one duel with the armed man holding an AK, a true man's fight. However, what the armed man never expects is that Jojo, holding an AK, arrives just in time and takes him down, saving the group. At the same time, Steven also swears to him that he will take him back, even if it means death. Sometimes, words truly cannot be spoken carelessly. Afterward, heavy rain falls from the sky. The group barely manages to build a makeshift shelter. During this time, Aviva reports the incident to her superiors. Her superiors send people to pick them up tomorrow. However, what they never expect is the crocodile attacks them again. The clever crocodile directly bites off the wood supporting their shelter. This causes the shelter to collapse. Everyone falls into the river. Chaos instantly erupts. Fortunately, everyone quickly swims ashore. At the same time, the severely injured Jacob does not want to burden everyone anymore. He pulls out a hand grenade. When the crocodile attacks them again, he directly, with the grenade, lunges at the crocodile. The grenade explodes with a bang in the water. Unfortunately, Jacob's grenade does not hit the crocodile. However, the crocodile, after eating Jacob, is full. This allows everyone to spend the night in peace. By morning, superiors send people to rescue them. A small helicopter arrives. Upon seeing it, they are like dying people who see a lifeline, or drowning people who grasp driftwood. It is more like encountering the only light in the darkness. It is the only hope of escaping a monstrous fate, caught in the double predicament of giant crocodiles and warlords. It instantly ignites wild joy and a will to survive. They run with all their might towards the plane. But soon, an accident occurs. An RPG directly scares the plane away. It leaves a few people behind. As expected, the armed forces send people over. Matt is also quite unlucky. He is directly hit by a car. He is then eliminated by an AK. The other few people lie motionless in the grass. After all, they have no weapons in their hands. They can only silently pray to not be seen. Vever, just as they think the armed forces have already left, they get hit by an RPG as soon as they stand up. The few people have no weapons in their hands. The best choice is to run for their lives. At the critical moment, Jojo arrives with a gun. But ultimately, 2 fists cannot defeat 4 hands. Soon, Jojo gets shot. He falls into the river. At the same time, these 2 people from the armed forces also accidentally drive their car into the river. The thin man perishes on the spot. The fat man miraculously survives. He looks at Jojo, who just gets up. The fat man is extremely furious. This young punk shot him. The fat man directly steps on his body and pushes him into the water. Jojo is about to drown. At the critical moment, Tim arrives, holding the truth. At this moment, the fat man is instantly dumbfounded. But he still wants to take a chance and go for broke. Seeing the fat man getting closer to him, Tim has no choice but to pull the trigger. However, the gun has no bullets. With no other option, he can only fight the fat man hand to hand. But Tim's combat power is simply no match for the fat man. It's not just that he's no match, he has no combat power at all. After all, he cannot compare to those who fight every day, he only gets beaten. But as everyone knows, once the villain is in an advantageous position, he becomes complacent and boasts for a while. The fat man provides Tim with an opportunity. Tim kicks the fat man down, but this kick causes no harm to the fat man. However, Tim uses a dirty trick. He directly castrates the fat man. Then, at the critical moment, Aviva rushes over. She loads the gun. She directly takes down the fat man. Then, we return to Steven. He gets separated from a few people. He also arrives at a lotus pond. This is where the opening scene takes place. Then, we pick up from the beginning. The triumphant Steven successfully escapes the crocodile's attack. But what he does not expect is that as soon as he leaves, the crocodile breaks free from the tree branch. The crocodile sees Steven's arrogant provocation and his international hand gesture. Can it tolerate that? It immediately chases after Steven. Steven keeps running and running. Finally, the crocodile successfully eats him. Then, we return to Tim. They temporarily find an open space to rest. Tim cannot help but sigh. Coming here is truly not worth it. Just then, Baldy drives over with his men. Tim sees them and exclaims that they finally arrived, saying they almost died there. It turns out there is something even more terrifying than crocodiles there, the local armed forces. As soon as the men get into the car, Tim notices something is wrong. He sees the necklace hanging on the rearview mirror inside the car and realizes it is the shaman's. He exclaims in dismay that he has boarded the wrong ship. Tim walks towards the car. Baldy stops pretending. He was the one who ordered the shaman's killing. His subordinate directly points an AK at Tim's forehead. Baldy interrogates Tim about the computer's location. Tim deceives and tricks them, leading Baldy and his men to the riverside. He claims the tracker continuously lights up, showing the location where the computer is. Actually, it is the crocodile. But the country bumpkin Baldy does not understand this kind of high-tech gadget at all. Just like that, the men arrive at the riverside. But there is one thing, Baldy is quite smart. He tells Tim to go get the computer. Seeing that the crocodile does not come, Tim wonders. The tracker is possibly broken. He looks again, and the crocodile directly spits out that thing along with the people it ate before. At this moment, Tim and Aviva take the opportunity to ambush the man and his soldiers. Tim takes care of the soldier. Aviva splashes a crocodile-attracting compound on him. After that, the two quickly run towards the car. While running, Aviva accidentally falls. As Tim helps Aviva up, at this moment, the man fires a shot at him, hitting his shoulder. Just as the man thinks he has succeeded, a movement suddenly comes from nearby. That is right. The crocodile arrives. Looking at the two people in front of it, the crocodile hesitates. Finally, it chooses the man. It is delighted. Soon, the two find the car. But at the critical moment, Aviva turns back to save a dog. This dog is exactly the one the villagers use for lookout. Aviva adopts it out of kindness. Aviva just picks up the dog. The crocodile arrives. Fortunately, at the critical moment, the crocodile drives the car. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Tim drives the car directly into the crocodile. Before the crocodile recovers, Aviva takes the opportunity to get into the car with the dog. Just as they are about to drive away, the car wheels get stuck in the mud. One of them asks what to do. Finally, with the protagonist's luck, the group successfully drives away from there. The scene changes. The three people board a plane returning to the United States. Jojo also finally gets his wish. The movie ends here. I still needs to complain about some parts of this movie. Notes that there are quite a few unreasonable parts. Moreover, the crocodile's screen time is not very much. It is a little unexciting. Moreover, I feels the director goes off topic while filming.